Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Microsoft Pulse, where we review the Microsoft roadmap so you don't have to. I am joined today by Tamara Bredemus and Tom Duff, and we cover the Microsoft roadmap in 4 sections. First section is in development, stuff that Microsoft is working on and will be coming to you in the future. Rolling out, features that Microsoft has completed and are in the process of rolling out to all of the tenants that are going to get that feature. Launched, which means that feature, assuming it's for your tenant type, should be available to you now. And then sometimes we have canceled, where Microsoft has decided for one reason or another they're not going to complete a feature that they said they would. And usually they apologize for that. We'll go ahead and get started. Tamara, you want to go first?
Sure. Microsoft Teams Facilitator detects and answers questions. Facilitator now automatically detects open questions raised during a Teams meeting and offers to help answer them using web search. When a participant asks a question, what is LLM? And no one answers, Facilitator posts a prompt offering to find an answer, and participants can select yes to have the agent retrieve and share the information. Now, if I'm leading a meeting, I want to answer that question. So I'm not sure how I feel about Facilitator. How do you guys feel about it?
I like the idea, and not because I don't think the person who is running the meeting necessarily knows the answer. I just know that when I'm running a meeting, I've usually got about 4 things going on in my mind at once, and I may not catch the question. And it's a question that may be very valid that other people had. So if it wants to say, hey, looks like there was a question raised, nobody volunteered to answer it. Do you want an answer to this one? I'm like, oh God, yes, go for it. And then just let it go from there.
I think with this particular one, the part that's catching me up is the web search, right? If it was doing an org restricted search, I actually might feel a little better about it, right? Because a lot of companies have acronyms that aren't like universal to the outside world, or policies that aren't universal to the outside world. So org context might matter a lot. I do like the innovation though. Like I like where Microsoft's going. I like Tom, your point about picking up on questions that you might have missed. It's very difficult to run a meeting and pay attention to all the questions that are being asked and taking scratch notes if you want to pick up on a specific topic. Like there's a lot to do when you're running a meeting. So I like any opportunity Microsoft's creating to help us with that.
Cool.
Well, that's where ADD makes meeting running simple. Can I just tell you, I have no problem answering oral questions, written questions, and taking notes for things to follow up on. It's just a mad skill you get in exchange for ADD.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Outlook shareable links now show as document name in meeting descriptions. So in Outlook for Android, shareable links now automatically show as the document name in meeting descriptions. Additionally, users can manage the link permissions on the shareable links directly from the meeting description. I love that part. Ensuring a more secure file sharing process. This is supposed to be coming out April to the worldwide tenant.
One thing, I don't know if you mentioned it because I wasn't listening closely, but that is for Outlook and Android. So it's not.
You did mention that.
Yes. Okay, good.
Yep.
Android users rejoice.
Huh?
Yay.
Said Android users rejoice.
Yes. Microsoft Teams improved organization for muted and meeting chats. So this is when you go into the meetings on that panel in Teams. Microsoft Teams automatically organizes your chats with a new built-in sections that are going to help reduce clutter and keep conversation easy to find. Muted chats, on by default, are grouped together in a dedicated area, while meeting chats, this is off by default, can be collected into a single section for quick access. You're always in control, as each section can be turned on and off based on your preferences. That's coming in May, and that is coming to everybody worldwide,
Ooh.
GCC, GCC High, and the DoD.
Nice.
And go ahead.
I said nice.
Yeah. And then teams sharing recap access. Recording and transcript owners can now grant recording and transcript access to specified people, not just the people who were in the meeting, when copying or sharing the recap link. And the specified people can access the recap without having to request access. That's coming out in May, and that's coming out for worldwide GCC and GCC High, not yet for the DoD. Last one for me in development, quick access to read items from unread only view. So Teams chat and channel lists can be filtered to show unread items only. When this filter is applied, hovering over the section reveals an eye icon next to the section name. Selecting the eye icon opens a list of read chats, read chats, or channels within that section, allowing you to open them up without leaving the unread only view. That's coming out in May to worldwide. All right, who's going next, guys?
Tom.
Okay, I'll go. So the first one, this is a new one that's gotten a lot of airplay. So this is in Copilot, Researcher Council, which is really interesting. Council and Researcher runs multiple leading AI models from different providers in parallel in one place so you can quickly compare results and see consensus versus conflict to make high-stake decisions with greater confidence without switching tools. So one of the things that they're talking about here is depending on what models you have enabled for your environment, let's just say you've got Anthropic and you've got, OpenAI. You can say, hey, do counsel on this and say OpenAI takes the first pass at everything, but then it automatically runs all that information back through Anthropic. So it's basically like you've got a built-in cross-checker, which normally is the person in the loop. Well, now you've got somebody who's probably better than the person at the loop to sit there and do initial comparison. Now, overall, everything still belongs to you, but I think the fact that it can go through and say, oh, this model over here gave you a link to something that I can't find. And I think that is really important. So I'm really looking forward to this Research Council one. And that's coming out in May to worldwide Copilot stuff. Then we have Copilot provides coaching feedback in chat as you draft, edit, and format emails. And this is an Outlook for Copilot. Copilot now provides coaching feedback on email drafts via chat and can supply or apply, either one, suggestions directly to your message in Outlook. Users have the option to choose which suggestions are applied, and Copilot updates your email in place. I think that is awesome, especially if you're not a good writer or you're not comfortable with it. That's coming out in May, Copilot Outlook worldwide. Then we have another one. If you're used to using Copilot Notebooks, this is a new feature you'll like. Create Excel spreadsheets from Copilot Notebooks. So basically, the notebook allows users to generate Excel spreadsheets using the content and references gathered in the notebook. It drafts a structured spreadsheet grounded in the notebook's content, which can then be opened and edited in Excel, helping users move from ideas and source material to a ready-to-use spreadsheet with fewer manual steps. I think that is awesome, especially if you're using this for a project and you're just dumping stuff in there, and then you can just say, hey, give me a spreadsheet that tells me blah, blah, blah. And it's got all that stuff for it automatically lined up. So OneNote, because that's the Copilot notebook, and then your Copilot thing that's coming out in May to worldwide. I think I have one more. And this one, I'm not sure quite what it does, but it sounds really intriguing. SharePoint, extending AI in SharePoint using custom skills. So this skills allows extensibility of the SharePoint AI agent, enabling customizable solutions that adapt to unique business needs. They address gaps in out-of-the-box functionality for unique business processes and enable reusable multi-step workflows. There's a lot of words there that sound really good all strung together, but I still keep coming back to, but what does it do? We're going to find out in May for SharePoint and the worldwide tenant. I think being able to let AI put things together for you, depending on how much it allows you to put together, I think this could be a really big deal. So we'll find out in May.
Yeah. All right, security. We've got a bunch in development this week. I'm going to bucket them together. We're going to start with Purview in the Microsoft Admin Center. This is specifically for GCC, GCC High, and DoD. I believe this feature already came to worldwide a while ago. And this is AI and IT admins in the Microsoft Admin Center can, one, gain visibility around oversharing risks and drive remediations. Two, understand how much sensitive Copilot interactions are protected, and turn on Purview DLP for Microsoft 365 Copilot right from the main admin center without necessarily having to jump over into the Purview center specifically to enable that function. It'll be a little bit before GCC, GCC High, and DoD get this. It's got a release date of September of this year. Then we're going to jump to Microsoft Purview Data Catalog. Migration tool in Unified Catalog to migrate classic glossary terms into the Unified Catalog. So if you're using the old classic data catalog, Microsoft is allowing migration of your glossary from the old data catalog to the new, more modern data catalog, so you don't have to completely rebuild your glossary. And as we mentioned earlier, companies have all sorts of terms and acronyms and various other things that get used within the company that if you look at it from the outside, you're like, what does that stand for? The data catalog glossary helps with that, making those glossaries centrally available. Okay, now we're going to talk about DLP. We are going to start with Microsoft Purview DLP, block external domain/user action in DLP for SharePoint Online and OneDrive. This will give admins the ability to set up more granular DLP policies to block file access for specific external domains or for individual users. This adds another level of granularity to those DLP controls. If you've got specific use cases in your organization where you might be doing external sharing from SharePoint Online and OneDrive, and there are specific domains you don't want to share with or specific external users you don't want to share with, you'll be able to better configure those policies. That is set for a May release to standard worldwide. I forgot to mention on the data catalog item, that's a July release to standard worldwide. Next one, data loss prevention inline DLP for prompts for Microsoft Foundry apps and agents. If you are building Microsoft Foundry apps and agents, this update will allow inline DLP policies to be created to prompt within those Foundry apps and agents to ensure data loss prevention for sensitive data. So you'll be able to have some inline controls with those Foundry apps and agents to prevent data from going where you don't want that data to go. That has a June release and is coming to standard worldwide. Next up is two that kind of go together. The first one is Microsoft Information Protection apply default SharePoint library labels to data at rest. This is an expansion of the existing SharePoint library classification label or sensitivity label that exists today. With this update, you will be able to not just apply those labels to new content uploaded into the library, but it'll have the ability to go back and apply labels to existing documents in the library, which is big. This has a May release date and again is coming to standard worldwide. And then finally, Microsoft Purview Data Loss Prevention apply default SharePoint library labels to data at rest. This is introducing an AI-powered capability to Microsoft Security Copilot to automatically generate natural, easy to say, language explanations of changes made to DLP policies after each update within Purview. This feature will analyze policy version deltas and produce a structured, human-readable summary that clearly explains what changed, where the change occurred, the rule, condition, action, location, etc., and the impact of the change with potential enforcement implications. This has a goal of eliminating manual policy difference analyses, reducing configuration ambiguity, and improve overall governance transparency for compliance and security administrators. That is coming out in August, again, to standard worldwide.
I go back on one of mine, Matthew.
Of course you
'cause
can.
It dawns on me that I combined two things together, which are actually separate items. When I
Happens.
when I talked about the researcher council, that's the one where it runs the two models, multiple models against each other, and comes up with comparing outputs and see consensus versus conflict. I then turned around and said, yes, and it will do fact checking, and one will do one and one will do the other, and this is all great. Well, that's actually a separate entry, which is critique in researcher.
You created something cool, though.
I really did.
Yeah.
But I've seen them both usually talked about together. So you've got the whole researcher council, and then you have critique, which is a new tool that they'll have. And the specific one for critique is responses are generated by GPT and Claude working together, with GPT drafting the original response or initial response, and Claude reviewing for increased response accuracy, completeness, and citation integrity. So my guess is if you're using either one of these, you're probably going to want to use both.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that you're going to be able to have, as I mentioned before, that non-human human in the loop to where you can get the citation checking, especially if you've got something that's heavily done with citation. Let it go through and say, hey, you made this one up, instead of you having to click through 500 citations in the document that you got. So I think that's a really good one. Sorry for confusing those two together before.
I actually, Tom, want to go back to another item you covered, and
Okay.
that was the extending AI in SharePoint using custom skills.
Oh.
I pulled up some more information on it because the roadmap details is very vague. But here's some more information. We're introducing custom skills for AI in SharePoint, which let users teach AI in SharePoint how to perform common business tasks in a consistent, repeatable way. With skills, organizations can tailor AI behavior to their own documents, standards, and processes, such as reviewing compliance documents or offer letters without writing code or using external tools. This update will help reduce manual effort and make AI results more reliable for everyday SharePoint work.
That makes sense.
It does, and that's cool.
Okay, cool. I will keep an eye open for that one in May.
Great. Tamara, you want to move on to rolling out?
I do. So the ever elusive SharePoint new web part for FAQ is rolling out. How many times have we
talked about this?
We've talked about this a lot. It was on again. It was off again. It was off again. It was on again. And this is rolling out to worldwide and GCC. And can I tell you, I've been doing SharePoint since 2007, 2008. I have never, ever been asked for an FAQ. So I'm glad they have a web part for it now. So it starts off with, after further review, we've mistakenly marked this as launched. The correct status is in development.
But it's in
rolling
now,
it's in
so which one's
again.
real?
Do you want the red pill or the blue pill?
But once
where's
again,
the
I
FAQ?
do apologize for the convience.
Yeah, where's the FAQ about the status of the FAQ web part?
I would like that web part.
That'll be next week.
So this is powered by Copilot, and this new web part can help content owners easily curate, not create, but curate FAQ by working with agents and connected grounding data. With a human in the loop approach, it ensures high quality, trustworthy FAQs, meaning you have to update all the information. It also says without the hassle. I'm like, the hassle of what? Making sure my content is up to date? The result, a living FAQ that evolves with your organization's needs. Updated February 24th. We previously marked this item as launched when it was still in preview. We expect to move to GA later this year. We apologize for any inconvenience. And now
so we really don't know if
April.
or when you're getting it right now. We just can't
Nobody
tell you
knows
things.
if you're coming or going.
Oh, too funny.
All right. Enough about FAQs. Meetings in Microsoft Teams. Meeting notes now available for instant meetings. When you just got to have that meeting now. And it's available for everybody worldwide, GCC, GCC High, and DoD. What it means is Teams meeting notes powered by Loop are now available for instant meetings that are started via the Meet Now from the calendar. Notes are Loop components in Teams meetings and chats that allow end users to co-create and collaborate on their meeting agenda, notes, and action items that can be co-authored and edited by everybody. Since notes are Loop components, they stay in sync across all the places they have been shared. And once added, meeting notes can also be shared and edited in Loop in the actual app in your web browser. Then we have context preservation in Teams. When you return to a conversation within a short duration of time, your selected tab, open side panel, and layout are restored automatically so you can keep working without resetting your workspace. In addition, returning to a quick view within a short duration will restore your previously selected message. That is rolling out to worldwide. The last thing I want to touch on is Microsoft Teams, the Team Phone User Multi-Line feature. This means that Teams phones, the user multi-line, gives callers more flexibility and control by allowing administrators to assign up to 10 numbers to a single user. With full support across Teams Desktop, Teams Mobile, and Teams devices, users can seamlessly make and receive calls from multiple numbers without switching account or hardware. This makes it easy to manage different roles, departments, and regional identities, all from one unified team experience. The result is a familiar localized calling experience for users who work across diverse markets or with global customers. Can I tell you? Speaking of global customers, I got a call from Italy at 5 o'clock this morning over Teams, and it rang through to my cell phone. But the problem was I couldn't hear the person making the call. It wasn't until I got up, got online, that I saw it was from Italy, that I saw who it was, and that I could listen to their message. Because I answered that phone twice.
Yeah.
I answered that phone twice at 5 o'clock in the morning. It went a little something like, hello. So
this was after a friend of her butt dialed last night at about 10 o'clock.
Yes.
So she's had lots of fun with phones over the last.
It's been a good time.
Not so much.
So what do you have there, Tom?
Well, because I'm kind enough to let my wife go first, I have one item left that she didn't take. One of them is, or the only one is, Microsoft Copilot. Copilot can edit your document in PowerPoint. I find this hysterically funny because a couple weeks ago I did one going, yeah, PowerPoint and Copilot just not there yet. But apparently it's getting closer now. So we have Copilot in PowerPoint lets you create, edit, and refine presentations through natural conversation directly into your presentation. You can start a new presentation or build on an existing one. Ask Copilot, generate slides, update content, improve layouts, and polish design, all while preserving format, structure, and branding. It connects you to your brand kit so you can apply branded templates, insert brand approved images, and check for brand compliance. This is available to all Microsoft Copilot users. All I can say is I think this requires that you have Anthropic turned on. because I think that's where a lot of the magic comes from. And when I did the demo a couple weeks, it got you about 50% of the way there and didn't do really any of those things. But we don't have Anthropic turned on. So I'm holding out hope that sometime this month we'll get approval to turn that on. I will try this again and go, oh my God, Copilot in PowerPoint is awesome. So yeah.
So far, not so much.
So far, not so much. Yeah. So that's the only one I really needed to share.
Okay, well, moving on to security-related items. The first one is Microsoft Purview. Apply sensitivity labels with user-defined permissions in Outlook for the web in Microsoft 365. The detail of this one is exactly what it says on the tin. You're going to have the ability to apply a sensitivity label with user-defined permissions in the web versions of your favorite Microsoft apps, Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. Previously, you could do this in the desktop apps, but there was no option to do it in the web versions. Now you can. That is rolling out this month to standard worldwide, GCC, GCC High, and DoD. Everybody gets user-defined label permissions. We love that. Next, Microsoft Endpoint DLP, Endpoint DLP Device Status API. This provides access to the same device health information that's currently available through the export function on the device onboarding page. With the new device status API, customers can pull device level information directly into their BI tools, dashboards, and workflows, eliminating the need for manual exports and making it easier to automate reporting at scale. This allegedly rolled out in March. To standard worldwide. Next, two regular DLP related items. First one is I was about to combine two words together. It's Copilot, not Coguard. Copilot to safeguard prompts. We're expanding Microsoft Purview DLP for Microsoft 365 Copilot to safeguard prompts containing sensitive data. This real-time control helps organizations mitigate data leakage and oversharing risks by preventing Microsoft 365 Copilot, including pre-built agents in Microsoft 365 Copilot, from returning a response when prompts contain sensitive data or using that sensitive data for grounding in Microsoft 365 or the web. This is, again, was launched last month in March and should have come to standard worldwide tenants. And then lastly, Microsoft Purview DLP, file testing against sensitive information classifiers. A new feature will be introduced on the main classification page, allowing users to test files against all available classifiers to identify the presence of sensitive information. Users will have the option to select a single classifier or run tests across all classifiers. This capability is designed to help users identify sensitive content within files and troubleshoot classification issues more effectively. This also rolled out in March to standard worldwide. This one I'm really excited about because we all the time get people who have a document, DLP snagged it because it says there was a social security number in it, and the user's like, there's no social security number in it. This will give people the ability to run it through all of the classifiers to flag what data is actually in there. A lot of times that there could be a string of numbers that look like a social security number, but it could be on a hidden tab. It could be on a hidden page. It could be buried in a comment field. DLP is really, really thorough and can find stuff that you may not have realized was even there. So this is cool. I'm excited about that one. Moving on to launched. Tamara.
There's nothing I'm interested in.
Tom.
I thought you were going to take the first one.
No.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to take the second one because I think this is a really cool feature, unless you're a project manager, in which case you may be shaking in your boots. So Copilot, Project Manager Agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot. The new Project Manager Agent N365 will help you plan, organize, and manage work more efficiently. We're starting with core task management and plan management features to simplify project tracking, and we'll introduce additional advanced project management capabilities over time. So yeah, I can see if you're going, well, this is going to replace me. It's going to assist you. It's going to assist you.
So learn how to use it.
Yes,
Mhm.
very much so. But something to keep an eye on if you're a project manager. This may really be a boon to what you're doing and make your job a lot easier. Or if you're threatened by AI, this could be something that really threatens you. So keep an eye open for it in either condition that you might be in. It's launched as of this month, and it applies to Planner and Copilot for the worldwide tent.
Great.
Great.
I've also got one in launch that I want to talk about, and this is data loss prevention, enhanced content extraction for file type coverage for DLP on Mac devices. I think I talked about this one, actually, I think it was just last week. With this release, the file type coverage to scan, classify, and protect sensitive content on Mac devices with Microsoft Purview DLP policies will increase from the current approximately 40 file types to over 100. This brings DLP in line for Mac devices where it is for Windows devices. This was launched last month in March to GCC high-end DoD. I believe this feature already came to standard worldwide a while ago. I think, in fact, last year it came out. Moving on to canceled, there's 3 items in canceled this week. First one is Microsoft Teams Hide Meetings Toolbar. We are not releasing this feature at this time. Maybe it'll come back around. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. And then 2 other items, Microsoft Teams book future meetings directly from Teams panel. This item was a duplicate, so it appears that it will still be released. I believe it's still slated for May, but under a different tracking number. And then same thing with Microsoft Teams AI Interpreter on Teams phone devices. This was also a duplicate. It should still also be released in May, just under a different row than the one that I'm looking at right now.
And they're still sorry.
Oh, and they are still sorry. Microsoft's always sorry. You can just assume Microsoft is sorry.
Yes.
And if they were from Canada, they would be sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, so sorry.
Sorry they interrupted your project.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's been the Microsoft Pulse today. I hope you all learned something. Tamara, Tom, pleasure as always. And
Thank you.
Until next week.
Ooh.
All right, let's do it again next week.
There you go.
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.